was like, what were you doing with my drapes? The drapes that were hanging in the apartment. I never got the answer to that. Hi, this is Kari from Sky Properties, and today we're going to talk about tenants that are not on the lease but living in the apartment. Surprise! John got married. John got married and has a wife, and said wife's car is in the garage. And there's a leaking pipe damaging her car. And this is how you find out that John is happily married and has his wife living in your apartment. Now, this can be problematic for a couple of reasons. One, you haven't been able to do a credit check or background check on the person who's moving in, which may or may not be okay. But also, let's say John's wife gets locked out of the apartment and you have no record of her living in the apartment. It's going to cause a problem because you're not going to be able to let her in. So at this point, you just need to approach John and get all the paperwork filled out properly and make sure she's on the lease. And that way, you know whose cars are in the garage and who's living in the apartments, and hopefully everyone lives happily ever after. If you have a tenant that already lives in the apartment and refuses to sign the lease, one of the things it says in the DRE handbook is that as long as you deliver it, you sign it and deliver it to them, that is considered a valid lease. I don't know if a judge will hold that up here in California. It's hard to say. So if you have a tenant living in an apartment that is a guest, and then it appears that the guest is no longer a guest and actually living in the apartment, you know, is going to the mailbox and picking up mail, and you see their car in the garage, you see them coming and going, but the tenant that is on the lease says absolutely not, this is just a guest. I guess you have to take their word for it to some degree unless you have some absolute proof that they're living there. One of the things that we've been doing at Sky Properties, we've been putting up security cameras in our buildings to make sure that we can see who's coming and going on a regular basis, and this would be very helpful in this situation. That is my best recommendation. The tenant who's living there and is on the lease is the one who's responsible for everything happening with the guest and in the apartment. They're responsible for their guest.